Hey guys, what's up? This is Casey. This is Coach Tom. This is Shot Science Overtime number 139. And we're going to do what we do every Sunday here, or most every Sunday here, is we're going to have a live show that we present a topic to you guys that we think is going to help you become a better basketball player, help you develop your skills, and hopefully take you to the next level. But just remember that this is not a regular Shot Science video tutorial. It's kind of like a longer form thing where we can talk to you guys and maybe answer some of your questions. So if you want another type of video, go check those out because we have those already on our channel in our video library. There's tons of them, and I put them down in the description of this video so you can check those out. This is for you guys. So we are going to have this topic that we're going to talk about. You guys are going to send us your questions while we're doing that. And after we're done with the topic, then you guys, then we'll come back and we'll talk to you guys and try to answer as many questions as we can. Okay? If you could, it'd be awesome if you could go follow us on all of our social media stuff. So that includes, Twitter, Facebook, Google Plus, Instagram, Snapchat. Subscribe to us on YouTube. We are Shot Science on all that stuff, and we're doing different things on all those places. Behind the scenes, secret drills, whatever you want to do that's basketball related. We're probably trying to do that stuff. So come follow us on all that stuff, and we'll have some fun and answer your questions outside of this stuff.
Right.
Okay, so our topic for today is what coaches really want to see. And, the reason that we have that as our topic is because a lot of the times, people kind of go through their playing careers trying to guess what coaches want. And, we've kind of talked about this stuff before. We have some videos on it, but it just seems like it keeps coming up. So we want to talk to you guys about what coaches really look at and, kind of the ways that you can impress them outside of, being the next Steph Curry in terms of your skills or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start with, what are some things that you as a coach look at that, maybe a kid might not be aware of that you're looking at?
Well, one of the things that is really important when you're a coach is looking at players and seeing what kind of contributions that they are going to make. Some players are selfish, and so their contributions are going to be more centered. And coaches should, and they don't always do this, but they should temper that a little bit so that this person is not just all there is to the show. We played a game on Friday evening, and it turned out okay. But one of the problems that we had is that we had 5 different guys who were playing their own game. We had to call timeout, get their attention, and let them know that this is the formula for losing whenever you are just playing by yourself. You're 1 against 5, and finally they kind of got the idea. So that's something that coaches are looking for, is they want to see their team play together. In fact, one of the greatest examples would be the Spurs and the Warriors as far as guys playing together and in unison. And it's hard to get teams to do that because there are a lot of personalities involved. There's a lot of different tactics that are involved to keep everybody kind of on the same page and working together. So coaches really, one of the principal things I think is they want to see their guys they're working in a very close-knit group where they all like one another, they share the basketball, they defend. All of those things are really good.
It's not about the individual, and
right.
A lot of times when people are trying to impress their coach, or they're trying to get more playing time, or they're trying to do, maybe more than they're capable of, is they try to make it all about them.
Yep.
They try to make it about making their skills be the thing that are the most kind of their goal. And that's the worst thing you can do. You want to make sure that you are still playing within the framework of the team, and that the team is really what you're trying to elevate, not just yourself.
Right.
And a lot of people think that if they're the ones that are shining because of their skills, that the coach is going to see that and suddenly they're the golden boy or golden girl or whatever.
Yeah.
And the case for coaches really is not that. We have a video called How to Make the Team, or Make the Team. And, in it, we talk about some of these qualities that players have that coaches really identify with. And some of those are, effort, initiative, leadership, And most of these are things that you can kind of flip on, or it's like a mental choice that you need to make. And sure, you can have the greatest skills on the planet, and if you have a crappy attitude or you're not helping elevate your team, sometimes coaches are just going to look at you and not want to deal with you.
Yeah.
And so being positive, and leadership it's kind of an all-encompassing type of thing to say, but leadership is a huge thing, and if you're able to make your teammates better because you are being positive to them, congratulating them on their successes, trying to kind of have that team outlook and stressing that with them, setting examples. In practice, maybe you're the first one running to the line to set it up. Maybe you're the guy that's picking up all the basketballs without the coach having to say anything. We talk about this all the time where we say, the players that coaches really look to are the ones that make coaches' jobs easier.
Yeah.
And, maybe you're anticipating what the coach wants and you're setting up the drill before, or you're getting to practice a little bit early and getting warmed up before the coach gets there, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like, you are taking the initiative and kind of almost stepping in and being a little bit of a coach yourself.
Or an assistant, yeah. That's really important. And, the thing that is really important as well as being a player is understanding your place in the group. Sometimes players have a much higher, let's say, opinion of themselves than maybe is due, and they oftentimes will take bad shots and not think too much about it. They won't hustle on defense. And coaches are looking for those people, like Casey was talking a while ago, who exhibit a lot of effort, and they play with some fire, and they really get after it. That's one of the things I think that is really important for players to know, is that coaches really like players who will play hard. And by playing hard, what I mean is that their intensity level is a lot higher than the normal person is when they're playing.
Yeah, I mean,
love those guys.
Yeah, if you guys have been watching any of the NBA stuff the last couple of days, it's all been talk about Draymond Green and Ben Wallace, who had his number retired yesterday. And those are two guys that, they are not the biggest guys. Yeah. They are not the quickest guys. They aren't the in terms of their position, the tallest guys or biggest guys. And, maybe they're not even the most skilled guys, but they are outworking everybody, or they were outworking everybody. And, Draymond Green, he has like 8 triple doubles already this year. And, he's going out there and he's doing everything. He's scoring, but he's also getting rebounds. He's getting steals. He's getting assists and hooking up his teammates.
He plays really hard on defense.
Yeah.
Too.
And, if a coach saw that in a guy or a girl, and, those were the qualities that they were exhibiting, and he's also like the positive team kind of energizer and stuff. Steph Curry is probably the leader of the team, but in terms of like emotional inspiration and stuff, I think Draymond Green is probably that guy.
Yeah, no question.
And all the qualities that he seems to be showing are kind of the things that coaches really look at. And that's why when you listen to those games, all the analysts and stuff are freaking out about him, because he's the guy that everybody wants to have on their team, whether he's your teammate or, you're the coach or whatever. Like, that's who they want.
Yeah.
And, Ben Wallace, he had his number retired last night. He was the same kind of guy. He was getting tons of rebounds. He was blocking shots. He was doing all the things that everybody else doesn't really necessarily always put the effort into. And that's, he wasn't scoring 30 points a night. I mean, he's getting all these recognitions because of all the hard play that he had in his career. So, those are the type of players and qualities that you want to have. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And so you can go out there and you can have all the dribbling abilities that you want. You can hit the 30-foot shot. You can play, great defense. But, those aren't the only things. And coaches, they look for, like, well-rounded people. And, they want to have a player out there that can do a little bit of everything. And, we talk about that, too, where people get too focused on being a point guard or too focused on being a center, where you should be focused on being a great basketball player all around. And that includes all of these things like positive attitude, effort, initiative, all of those things. Right?
Well, yeah, and the game has changed so much in recent years where You know, guys who normally might be what they call a stretch four or a post player are moving away from the basket. I mean, here you got Draymond Green, who I think he's what, about 6'8", 6'7", 6'8", and he brings the ball up a lot of the time, and he kind of initiates the offense. And usually guys that size are not playing in that position. That was something that also was kind of the case with Magic Johnson. He was 6'9", and he'd come up the floor, and he was a great distributor, just a great passer, because he was a really good player, not just a position player, but a really good player.
Yeah, well, I mean, you could say that about Kevin Durant or Anthony Davis or all of these guys that are like 7 feet tall. Dirk Nowitzki. Yeah, you got Kristaps Porzingis. And I mean, there's so many of these guys. They aren't letting like their body types dictate kind of where they go on the court. Exactly. They also aren't just sitting back and relying on their height because they're tall. They're going out there and they're playing as a basketball player. And all those guys too, they have all those qualities that we talk about, like taking initiative and being a good teammate and all that stuff. And that's how you do become a great player. Look at somebody like Tim Duncan. He's not sitting there making it about himself. And a lot of the times when people talk about the Spurs, it really is like there's a specific mentality that everybody on that team has, and it's about getting the win and making sure that it's about the team and everything too.
Really.
Anyway, do you think that's good on that?
I think so.
Yeah. So we just we want you guys to kind of think about what your coaches are looking for, what coaches are looking for when maybe you're trying out for the team, or maybe you're playing on the team. You might even be one of the starting five or the player that is playing the entire game right now, but that could change. If your attitude suddenly becomes unmanageable, or if you start becoming a pouter, you're not working hard, coaches pick up on that stuff first. It's not necessarily because you go into a shooting slump and you miss 15 shots in a row. If you have a good attitude and you're still helping be a team leader and everything, then the shooting slump won't matter. But don't give your coach another reason to get you out of the game.
Yeah.
And if you want to get off the bench, same deal there.
Yeah, and players fall into that pit so often. And what happens is that you, through body language, oftentimes more than anything that might be spoken, demonstrate that you're not a supporter of the entire team. You get to the end of the bench, always go to the end of the bench, and you sit and you pout and feel sorry for yourself. One of the things that I have players who are kind of marginally there, and I'll say, okay, you sit next to me. And so they'll come up and they'll sit next to me, and we'll chat a little bit, but not much. I just want them to be right there so they're in the moment and hearing what the coaches are saying to each other possibly, and hearing what we're saying to players on the floor. Players that are way down at the end of the bench because they're trying to separate themselves from the coaches and the other players, those guys are the ones that are the hangers-on, and they're the detractors from the team. They detract from the positive attitude that coaches try to establish with their teams.
Yeah, well, here's a life hack when it comes to basketball, and that is, if you want to be an integral player on the team, don't be the guy that gets that checks out of the game and then walks to the end of the bench.
Takes your shirt out, jerks your shirt out of your pants, and walks to the end of the bench.
Or just goes down there to hang out with your buddies or whatever. Because if you do that, you basically have shown that you don't want to be out on the court.
Yeah, true.
Because the player that wants to be out on the court, they're going to be in the game. They're going to still be watching what's going on. They're going to be watching the person that checked in for them to see how they're doing, see what the defense looks like, see what the offense looks like. And the other thing is that as soon as the coach turns their head, why don't you be the first guy that's there, so that they don't have to think about, oh, okay, well, I got to go look down and see who's at the end of the bench. Oh, that guy's messing around. That guy's, looking up in the stands. That guy's, whatever. Be the guy that's right there, that's actually in the game. Yeah. And you will be the one that goes back in more often than not, because the coach, they have to make that split-second decision and, make it easy for them to make.
Yeah, one of the other things that goes along with that line of thinking is that guys who go, and girls, who go to the end of the bench are not involved in the game typically. They are gazing up into the bleachers. Maybe they're waving to their girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever. But you've got to go back in the game for Bill and you don't know who he's been playing. You don't know whether they're playing man or zone defense. You don't know whether they're playing a pressure offense or pressure defense. And so what happens is that you need to make sure that you are involved in the game, okay?
Right.
That's important, really important. When you're on the bench, you should be involved in the game.
Yes. Okay. So I think we'll stop there.
Okay.
How about that? So hopefully that helps you guys. And just remember to think like a coach and then act accordingly.
Yeah.
Don't act like a player that isn't taking that into consideration. Yeah. Those are things that will help you get more playing time and will also make you a better player. I mean, that's just kind of the bottom line. Okay. So we're shutting that off there. If you guys have more questions about that, let us know and we'll get back to you in the comments here on the show. Send us your questions and make sure that you go out and tell your friends and family to check us out because that really helps us out. And follow us on all our social media stuff. We're Shot Science and everything, and that includes Instagram and Snapchat. Let's see here. We're going to jump into the comments here and start answering your questions. Let's see. This one is from Newton Nguyen, who says, "Hi, say hi to me. What's up?"
Hi, Newton.
So if you guys want to tell us where you guys are from, that's always fun. Tell us what country you're from. We are in California right now. So let us know where you're from. That's cool. Let's see. This one is from Seth, who says, "How do I work on my defense by myself?"
Well, so much of defense is really about footwork.
Yep.
And so you can actually work on that footwork without having anybody in front of you. And so that's always a good thing to do. One of the things that I like to see players do, and in fact, we do this from time to time in our practice, is that we have you take and put your hands behind your back and grasp the back of your shorts. And then we work on footwork drills where that's all you're doing. You're just using your feet. And you've got to stay in front of that offensive player. And it's hard to do because most of the time we're worrying about getting out, trying to flip the ball out and taking fouls on reaching and that kind of thing. But just working on your footwork is really important to be successful as a defensive player.
Yeah, I would say go look at our videos called Defense 101.
Yep.
We talk about the proper stance. We talk about how to get into the step drag footwork. And, then after that, people are always asking, how do I do this alone? How do I do this if I don't have a basketball court? How do I do blah, 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 fill in the blank? I don't have this, fill in the blank.
Yeah.
And to that, we always say, figure it out.
Yeah.
Make it happen. That the thing about it is that not everybody's going to have what somebody else has. Like, you have to make it work for you. And we can't tell you how to do that. But for somebody like you, Seth, that's saying, how do I work on the defense by myself? Do you have anybody you can work with? You can get your mom, you can get your grandma, you can get your sister, you can get your brother, you can get your dad. All of these people that, your buddy, you can get them to come out there and stand out there, and maybe you give them a basketball and have them move around, do like a little one-person shell drill or something like that, and have them dribble to their right, dribble to their left, have them, dribble at you, whatever it is. You can find somebody that can help you with that.
Yeah.
And also, you can also maybe get some buddies together and work on skill development with your buddies. That's always a good plan. But you have to figure out and make it happen. But we would say the foundation of anything is going to be your footwork.
Exactly.
And if you work on developing your footwork, you're going to be in a good spot. And then you can tackle the 3 pillars of practice, which we may talk about today, which we usually do. Okay, this one is from Beatriz Caldera, who says, "I just joined a basketball team. I was always on the bench. When I got off the bench for 2 minutes, I played really good and was so hot from the paint, but now the coach wants me in the starting 5. But it was only a 1-minute thing, a one-time thing. I'm good. I'm a good player, but not as good as the coach wants." Okay, well, you just talk yourself out of that.
Well, yeah. The coach must have seen some things in you that he really liked. Don't put yourself down. Accept the fact that he likes how you play. And get out there and repeat it and try to improve it every time you get on the floor.
Yeah, we were just talking about what coaches want to see. Yeah. One of the things they don't want to see is somebody that isn't confident. Like, they want to see people that go out there, that play hard, they've worked on their skills, and they feel confident in themselves. And you have to feel that confidence when you step out there. And it's hard because obviously you don't have tons of experience maybe on that team or whatever. but you just need to go out there, relax, and play your game.
Yeah, exactly.
Your coach is not asking you to do anything more than what you can do. And you might think that they need you to play how you were playing in this 2-minute stretch or whatever it is, but that's not what they're asking you to do. They're asking you to just go out there and play.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. And you do your thing when you get out there.
Yeah, and if you have this mentality like that was a one-time thing, I blacked out and had my Rain Man moment or whatever it is, that's not the way to approach that, because you've just talked yourself out of maybe that is how you play. You don't know.
Yeah. Sure.
So just chill out on yourself. Go out there, relax, and play. Okay, this one is from It's 24X. It says, "Why is Stephen Curry so overrated? Just an offensive player, not even a pure point guard."
Oh, wow.
Okay,
Wow.
Stephen Curry, he's the best player in the NBA right now.
There's no question that he is the most outstanding player there.
People are hating on. They typically hate on the person that is doing the best, or the team that's the best.
Yeah.
And they do it to LeBron. They do it to. They did it to Michael Jordan. They do it to Kobe. These are players that are head and shoulders above everybody else. And, saying Stephen Curry is the best player in the NBA right now is not taking away from somebody like LeBron, who has sustained his greatness over time.
Sure.
But, Steph Curry right now, he's playing better than anybody right now. LeBron James can't claim that he's playing better than Stephen Curry.
Yeah.
And, saying that he's only an offensive player is ridiculous, because, a few years ago, teams were exploiting the fact that he was the smaller guy.
Yeah.
And he stepped up what he was doing because of that. And right now, he's actually a very good defensive player. Right. If he wasn't, he would be a liability, and he knew that.
Yeah.
And if that was really the case, you would see teams with these prominent point guards that would be taking advantage of him, and that just doesn't happen.
No.
And here's another thing, talking about pure point guard, saying stuff like that is silly, because that is not even part of the game really anymore. And
it isn't part of the game.
And
they put that tag on people who play in that spot, but you find him playing all over the court. You find him playing at the wing on the right. You find him playing on the wing at the left. And to call him not a pure point guard, he's a pure player, no matter.
Yeah,
position doesn't matter. He is a pure out and out player, no question about it.
Basketball puts these labels on places that you're supposed to play.
Yeah.
And typically, none of these players in the NBA really fit any of these positions anymore. I mean, you could say Kyrie Irving. He's not even really a true point guard. Right. He's a great shooter. He's not distributing the ball only. You could talk about Anthony Davis. That's a guy, you look at him, you'd be like, oh, well, that guy's a center or a power forward. He's clearly not moving without, outside of 10 feet of the basket, but he's stretching it out. He's playing, 25 feet away from the basket. So saying things like he's not a pure point guard, this sounds like haterade, and you just really don't like Steph Curry, which is fine.
Yeah, just be upfront with it. You don't like him, that's fine.
Yeah.
But don't say he's not this or he's not that.
I mean, you have to drop the blinders on that stuff and realize that, he is a great player. And
Draymond Green is not a pure point guard, but he plays the point guard a lot.
Or he's not a pure forward. He's not.
He's a pure player.
Yeah,
and you take a look at some of the other guys on that basketball team, as well as other basketball teams, and they are players. They don't have that label across their forehead that they are a 2, or that they're a 3, or they're a 1. Anyway,
and
enough rant.
Yeah, and when we are talking about positions and stuff, people need to let that stuff go.
Yeah.
You might see it up on the screen. It might say Kevin Durant, small forward, or whatever shooting guard, or whatever they want to put on anybody. And that almost doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Okay, this one is from Andrew Robine, who says, how to finish through contact. Well, we talked about that last week a little bit.
Yeah.
Kind of our big takeaway message always when we were talking to people about this is you want to focus on the finish. Because a lot of times people, they're like, oh my God, this guy is going to bump me, or he's going to push me, or he's going to blast me, or whatever. And that's what they focus on. but then they put the shot up after the fact, or they haven't thought about it, and it doesn't have a chance.
Right. It's not even the right zip code.
So your one goal for you is to make the basket.
Yeah, exactly. And don't matter about the contact. And if you know it's coming, which you usually have a sense of that, then you want to give as much as he's going to give. And if he's going to whack you pretty hard, well, you're stepping into him. You're going to deliver the same blow to him.
Well, I mean, yeah, there's that, but focus on the finish, make the basket. If they foul you, then they are the ones that are going to be really penalized.
They're the ones likely to be fouled. In all honesty,
called for the foul.
The call for the foul, yeah, exactly.
And so you want to try your best to get those 2 points and make the basket. And if they foul you, then they're going to get the foul. They're going to send you to the line. You can make it a 3-point play. Even if you don't get the basket, they are penalized.
Yeah,
and you also have the option to jump stop. You have the option to maybe lean into them a little bit. I mean, there's so many things to do. Go check out our video from last week. Okay, this one is from Michael Litton, who says, "What kind of mentality should you have at the free throw line?" You should have the mentality that you're going to make it.
You want to have a positive outlook, and if you go there worrying about whether you're going to make it or not, you're probably not going to make it. What you want to do is just really focus on the fact that the stroke mechanics, you've done this lots of times, and I think a breathing technique is really important. When you get there, usually you've been involved in some intense play for a short period of time, where you're maybe up and down the court, and so you're breathing pretty hard. Take time before you even go to the line there to take some deep breathing and kind of relax yourself. When you get there for your shot, I like this pattern of breathing when you take the ball and go through your routine, whatever it is. Some people like to bounce it 3 times. Some people will wrap it around their back, okay? Well, whatever that routine is, go ahead and do that. And then what you want to do is try and take and blow all the air out of your lungs. And then take a deep breath and blow half of it out, and then it's time to go. That relaxes your body.
Yeah, well, here's the thing, is that you want to have a simple routine.
Yep.
Some people get into the habit of doing their Harlem Globetrotter drill at the free throw line. And the fact of the matter is that you want to have something that you can repeat consistently every single time,
exactly.
And it's going to be the same every single time, because when you step to the free throw line, you want it to be like you've been there a million times before.
Right.
And so when you step on there, you don't want to have some routine where you're dribbling and then you're putting it around your back, between your legs, spinning the ball, all that stuff. Have something super simple, whether it's 2 dribbles and right up into your shot or whatever. You just need to have something super simple that's repeatable. And that's just like your shooting mechanics. You want to have that simple and efficient as well.
Exactly. And there is a time limit for you to shoot that ball, too.
Yeah, well, who are you trying to impress at the free throw line?
Yeah.
You impress people by making your free throws, not by how cute you look.
Yeah.
Let's see. This one is from Newton Nguyen, who's saying, "I'm new to basketball. How do I get to know what places are where, like the elbow?" Well, I mean, that's through experience.
You get around basketball, and you get around basketball players, and you watch and you listen and you participate. I mean, this is part of developing your aptitude for the game, is understanding what all these places are called, and then either asking, why is it called that? Or understanding, maybe watching somebody else explain it to another player or something like that.
Well, here's what I would say.
Yeah.
You can ask questions. You can say, where's the elbow? What is the elbow? I'm new to this. I don't know. And that's fine. And if somebody gives you a hard time about that, they're the jerk.
Well,
but here's the other thing. We all have a special friend on the internet called Google. And you can go into Google, you could type in, what is the elbow in basketball?
Yeah.
And it will pop up on the screen, and it will tell you the elbow in basketball is the corner of the key where the two lines meet at the free throw line.
Right.
And that's a very simple way to find out the terminology of stuff. When it comes to figuring out the concepts and where people go and how to develop things, that's why you have channels like Shot Science, and you go and you look at the videos that we do, or you can ask a coach, or maybe you have a friend that's played basketball for a long time. I mean, you got to get you got to be willing to take the next step and ask the questions or find the question,
Right.
or find the answer.
Yeah, and that is all part of basketball terminology. And that terminology, that changes over time too. I can remember when I was a young coach, the elbow was referred to as short 17, meaning that it was just a little bit shy of 17 feet. And so some of those locales, some of that terminology changes over a period of time as new coaches' vocabulary come in, and you'll see a lot of that change.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, people call it the paint. People call it the key. Whatever it is, there's different terminology. You just have to get used to playing, and you'll start to learn all that stuff.
I'll bet you there's not too many young players that even know why that area is called the key.
Okay, we'll leave it at that.
We won't take it today. Maybe somebody will come on and tell us what it is in the comments.
Okay, this one is from Nick, who says, how to work on my jumping invert from home. I don't have access to a gym, sadly. Regards from Serbia. Well, hello from California.
Yeah.
We would say that we would send you to go check out our videos on developing your vertical jump. And we have several videos called How to Increase Your Vertical. And we also have the Vertical Jump Handbook that you can download. And we give you a whole bunch of workouts and exercises you can do from home with very limited
equipment,
gear requirements.
Yeah.
So, it's safe for younger people. It's going to actually address your general athleticism. So it's not like it's just your vertical. It'll help make you faster, quicker, more explosive, have better lateral movement, all of these things. And, we put it together knowing that you guys were going to be younger people that were trying to put it together on your own without all this gear and equipment. Yeah. And Chase, who is one of our other shot science guys, he has the degrees in that kind of stuff, in exercise science. So it's expertly put together in terms of the programming. So go check out those videos, and you can find them on our channel. Let's see here. Ryan Woodbridge says, what are some footwork drills for a left-handed player?
Okay. All right, Ryan.
Well, the reason that you laugh like that...
The reason I chuckle is that it doesn't make any difference what hand you are.
Yeah, left-handed people are not magical beasts.
No.
It is the same thing.
Yeah, just in reverse.
Yeah, it's the mirror image. So, if we say to do something with your right hand, if you're right-handed, you're going to do with your left hand if you're left-handed. A right-handed layup, doesn't matter who the player is, doesn't matter what hand they are. A right-handed layup is going to look the same if you're a right-handed player or if you're a left-handed player. Yeah. Just as if you flip it and we ask you to do a left-handed layup, it's the same if you're a right-handed player or a left-handed player. You just have to flip the terms.
Yeah, exactly.
You finish off of your left foot if you're making a right-handed layup. You finish off your right foot if you're making a left-handed layup. And when it comes to footwork, it is literally the same exact stuff.
It's just in mirror image of a right to a left-handed.
That's if we're dealing with something like handedness on the basket or whatever. If it's just footwork in terms of developing your athleticism or something like that, and we ask you to do a ladder drill or a dot drill or a jump rope or whatever, that is basically exactly the same.
Yeah, it is.
And people worry so much about handedness or whatever, and the thing is that you have to build up your weak hand to get to the level of your stronger hand while you're working on your stronger hand development as well, and it just takes more effort on that one side.
Hang on, the Cody Braithwaite there.
Braithwaite, this one?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How did Steph Curry become so good in 2 years?
He was good way before he got to the NBA.
Yeah, go check him out at Davidson. I mean, there's tons of highlights. Yeah. The thing about it is he struggled with injuries, and he was also getting used to playing in the NBA.
Yeah.
He's an undersized player. He's not a big body. He was having trouble with, all of these kind of serious ankle issues. Mm-hmm. And you also get to a point where when you're healthy and you're confident and your team is working the way that it should, that you start to really kind of elevate yourself and look like the player that's reaching their real potential,
Right.
which is what he's essentially doing.
Yeah, and he didn't do that in 2 years.
No.
No, that was a growing thing for him probably over the last 8 or 10 years of his life, where he was improving all the time until he reached the level where he is today.
Yeah, and the thing is that you don't bumble your way into the NBA, especially when you are 6'2" or 3" or whatever he says he is, which, that's an NBA height. He's probably 6'1" or something.
Yeah.
So, he was an NBA caliber player, and he has continued to develop himself, which is true of a lot of those guys.
Yep.
Most people don't come in and just suddenly they're on the all-star team and they're, leading the league and fill in the category or whatever. It takes you a little while to get started, and he's still a young guy. Let's see. Beatrix Caldera says, I look stupid when trying to dribble with my left hand. Well, that's because your left hand is probably your weak hand.
Well,
and it probably is going to be a little wonky. It's not coordinated.
Here's the deal. Players avoid playing with their offhand, whether it's their right or the left, because they don't like to be embarrassed by the fact that they're not very good with it, so they avoid it. And so they just become one-handed wonders. And the thing that is really a shame about every basketball player that gets there is that you don't have the nerve to take and spend time on your weak hand or offhand. And I will tell you this, you will be surprised if you work 15, 20 minutes a day on just that hand, how quickly it catches up to the other hand just because you use it. That hand fails because you allow it to fail, because you don't ever challenge it and force it to get better and better and better. It's that simple.
You got to use it or you'll lose it or you won't ever have it.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, this one is from Jose Panamino, who says, how can I improve rebounding? You got to work on it.
Yeah, you really do. The key points, part of it is learning how to read rebounds. And learning how to read rebounds comes from being around the game a lot. One of the things that we talk about from time to time on this program is that shots that are taken from one side of the floor usually rebound to the opposite side of the floor. Not always, but the rate is set somewhere around 65 or 70% of the time. A shot from one side of the floor will rebound to the opposite side of the floor. That should help you in rebounding. Another thing that should help you is this. If you see a flat shot, then that flat shot typically is, if it hits the iron, it's going to result in a long rebound. Okay, and so you need to kind of, as you're looking at that ball going to the basket, if it's got a nice arc, it probably, if it runs into the rim, it's going to bound upward and stay around the basket.
Yeah, so we have video on that where we show you, and it's demonstrated. So check out our rebounding videos on our channel. I think we even have it in the links down below this video. Yeah. But the thing about it, too, is that rebounding is kind of a mentality.
It is.
You have to want to get the ball and want to rebound to be a good rebounder. And, if you watch highlights of guys like Dennis Rodman or even Ben Wallace or whoever, Draymond Green, you'll see people and they get like this look in their eye when they know the ball is in the air. They're blocking out their guy. They are putting a body on somebody. And when that ball hits the rim or whatever, they are going after it. It's not like it's waiting around like, oh, I'm just going to stand here, and if the ball comes to me, that's great, and I'll get the rebound. It's like, I'm going to go after that, and if I have to dive over somebody or whatever, I'm going to get the ball.
Yeah, oftentimes what happens is if players don't think they've got a chance for the rebound, they don't do anything. One of the things that we spend time on with most everybody that we work with is we have a rebounding drill where we want them to go get the rebound no matter if it's on the other side of the basket or not. They go get it. And they go get it aggressively with two hands. One of the biggest rebounding mistakes I think that is made is the fact that we try to rebound the ball with one hand. And when we go up with one hand, if somebody else just tips the ball just a little bit with a finger, and that ball is out of there. And so we really talk about in terms of going up and getting the ball with both hands so that you can control that.
Yeah, and, go check out our videos on the rebounding. We talk about all this stuff. We also show you the monster rebounding drill, which is, something that might help you in developing that go-get-it mentality. Okay, this one is from Robert Stark, who says, how do you practice basketball outside when it's cold? Figure it out. Make it happen.
Put on the clothes and go.
Or find a gym somewhere where maybe you call up your local YMCA, or you call up your local high school team or high school coach or whatever, and see if you can put together some open gyms. Or I don't know, maybe you join a gym just to use their basketball facility. I don't know, you have to figure that out. And then, there's always the option of working out in your garage, or a friend's garage, or your grandparents' garage, or whatever it is. You need to figure it out. We can't, magically transport you into a gym to make that work. That's really on you. And if you want it bad enough, you'll figure it out. And people always ask those questions. And it's like, do you think that a lot of these guys in the NBA who come from family situations and economic situations that are essentially just very poor, they were not privileged people, do you know how that they figure that stuff out? Like they made it happen, whether it was in Chicago where there's freezing weather, or New York where there's freezing weather, or wherever it may be. Not all of these guys in the NBA grew up rich in Los Angeles or San Diego, where it's nice year round and they had all the facilities and things that they wanted. They figured it out. Okay, this one is from Harris Kaus, who says, "Why do kids nowadays do fancy ball handling and shoot threes when they can't make a left-handed layup?" Well, that's generalizing big
very
time.
narrow kind of a spectrum.
Sure. There's always been players like that. That's not a new thing.
No.
There's people that they focus on one aspect of their game and they don't focus on the other aspects, or they don't progressively work back to being a 3-point shooter.
Right.
But I feel like that's kind of changing, especially with players like Stephen Curry. It's like people want to be more well-rounded. They want to be able to shoot the ball. They want to be able to handle the ball. But yeah, there's always been that guy that literally goes out there and does their and one mixtape and can't do anything else.
Yeah.
But that generalizing that and saying that isn't really true, because we see people all the time that are young kids, 10 years old, that can make right and left-handed layups.
Oh, yeah.
And they can shoot from the mid-range, and they can step back and shoot deeper shots. That's a big-time generalization.
Big time.
And it sounds a little bitter. Let's see. And Antonis Diakogiannis. Whoa, that's an intense name. Do you believe that Stephen Curry is a toxic player for young players? No. He exhibits most of the skills that coaches have wanted players to exhibit forever.
Yeah, true.
There was a kind of a trend in basketball where everybody was focusing on dunks and not really developing any kind of range on their shooting or anything, and there was no emphasis on making free throws or playing intense defense or working on your team skills or moving without the ball. Seems like Steph Curry and guys like Klay Thompson and guys like Draymond Green and guys like Kyrie Irving and guys like even LeBron, like they're changing the way that all of that stuff looks for the better.
Yeah,
right.
I agree with that one. Yeah,
I think that people have read that headline about who was it, Mark Jackson or somebody was saying Steph Curry is ruining basketball. Sometimes people say things just for the shock value and to get back in the news. That's kind of the case.
Yeah.
Let's see. This is from Alex Ruiz. What are some good drills for lateral quickness on ball defense? Well, I think really just developing your footwork and working on defensive step drag.
That probably is the biggest thing about footwork, is when we work on the step drag drill that Casey's talking about there, point your toe in the direction you're going to go. That's really key. Point your toe in the direction you're going to go. And then when the other foot, and reach with that foot. And when the other foot comes in, don't let the feet get close together, because when the feet get close together, your body elevates. And when it elevates, it gets slow. And so when your feet come together, there should be space between, there should be space between those feet so they don't come right in here when we're going step drag, step drag.
Yeah, well, you can check out our video on the mechanics of footwork. The thing is that, you can do things like ladder drills. You can do things like dot drills, even some things with jump rope. and you can work on your lateral quickness. But sometimes the best thing to do when you're trying to work on your lateral quickness on this specific thing like defense is you have to get out there, get the footwork down, and use the footwork.
Yeah.
And whether that's you are intensely going step drag, 3 steps one way and then 3 steps back. When we were growing up, you always did like the you're doing the zigzag on the court trying to follow the ball or whatever. That's a good way to work on that stuff. But a lot of it is pushing yourself and progressing using the right footwork.
Right.
Let's see. This one is from Nicholas Rivas, who says, "How do you solve issues with your coach?" I would say, use your mouth.
Talk to him.
Yeah.
It's funny. I had a discussion with a young man a week or so ago, and he doesn't play for us, but he was kind of distraught. And I asked him, "Well, what's wrong?" He says, "Well, I asked the coach a question, and he didn't answer quite what I asked him." And I said, "Well, what did you ask him?" And so he told me what he asked him, and I said, "And what did he say back?" "Well, he said so and so," and said he answered exactly what you asked him. And so sometimes we don't understand the fact that when we ask a question, maybe it's too broad, and the coach comes back with maybe a broad response. Or if you want to know something specific, you need to ask the coach specifically what it is that you want him to respond to. And most coaches are pretty reasonable people, and they will respond back to you with regard to what you've asked them. If you get in their face, or if you begin to act kind of like a donkey, they're not going to respond the way you want them to.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, if you go to a coach and you are not acting entitled and like you deserve everything.
Sure.
And you're having an honest discussion with them. Most coaches, that's what they wish you would do anyway.
Sure.
And if you're bummed out about something, you can tell them, you can say, "Hey coach, I'd love to get more playing time. Is there anything that I can do? Coach, is there something wrong? I feel like maybe I did something, or is there anything I can do to whatever, fill in the blank."
Mm-hmm.
And people are so scared to talk to their coach or whatever, or they feel like that's a weakness or something like that. But if you go in and you talk to your coach and have a good dialogue, you're not asking for favors or anything like that,
How
and
come I don't play more and that kind of thing.
Yeah, you're not acting entitled and everything, then that's the coaches want you to do that. That's not a big deal. But it's when you come in there and you say, "Coach, I should be playing more. I don't know what your problem is," or
I don't know why that guy plays more than I do because I'm better than him. Well, those are the kind of things that generate real animosity with coaches.
Yeah, so that's not the way to approach
No.
it. But you can go talk to your coach. This one is from True Lagtastic, who says, "I always get air balls, help me," and then you say, "How to shoot with more power." Well, I think that there's several things to say there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think there's at least 3. One of the things is that you need to generate your power in your lower body.
Yeah, absolutely.
We talk about this every week, where your lower body is where you generate the power, and your upper body is where you generate the accuracy and the finesse. And if you're trying to power with your upper body, that's going to mess up your accuracy on your shot.
Well, the shot goes downhill quick
because you're adding all this tension because you're trying to harness your muscles and power and all that. So you need to use your lower body, your lower chain, your legs, your core, your butt, all of those big giant muscles to get the ball where it needs to go.
Right.
And you use your upper body to aim that stuff.
Yeah.
Too many people say, "Oh, well, you got to work on your triceps or your biceps and get your." That's the worst advice you could possibly get. Work on generating your power with your lower body.
See our video on that.
Yeah, and then I would also say you got to work on connecting all the parts of your shot.
Exactly.
So from your feet to follow through, it's all one solid motion. If you have any sticking points or any hitches, that's going to cut the power essentially at those points.
Right.
So you want to eliminate that. And if you watch somebody like Stephen Curry or Klay Thompson or fill in the blank great shooter, they don't have those little hitches in their shots, and they go straight up and it's one fluid motion. And then the last thing is you got to work progressively back to get to be able to shoot that range. So use something like the form shooting drill, start out close, and then progressively work back. You can't just shoot the 5-foot shot, master that, and then step back for the 22-foot shot and think that that's going to work out.
Right.
You have to take the 5-foot shot, the 6-foot shot, the 7-foot shot, the 8-foot shot, the 9-foot shot, progressively work yourself back, master each range, and then you'll find that you'll be in better shape. Let's see. This one is from Yusuf Fidan, who says, could you become pro if you start at age 16 and train up to 5 to 6 hours a day, or is it too late? Okay.
Yeah.
That for us to give you specific advice on that would not be honest. We don't know you as a player. You can't generally say, do this and you'll become a pro player. We'll just say the NBA right now. The NBA is a very select group of people. It's only like 1,000 guys, right? Something like that, or maybe even less.
I can't remember. It seemed like 900 or something like that.
But there's a very select few guys that make that. Just because you play Division I basketball, just because you win the NCAA championship, just because you're the greatest or you're the best, fill in the blank player in college, doesn't mean that you're going to go on and play in the NBA even. There's the European leagues, there's South American leagues, the Asian leagues. So that's another kind of thing you need to see, is that the NBA is a very small group of people,
Yep.
very select. Pro basketball, it's a bigger umbrella, but that's also very difficult to get to that. Starting at 16 is definitely not too late. Practicing up to 5 to 6 hours a day, that's great. But I would say it's fine to have that goal set to be a pro player, but if that's your only goal, you will find that you will become frustrated and you will not probably stick with playing basketball. And are you doing it for the right reason? Do you love basketball? Then that should be a good reason to go out and play 5 or 6 hours a day. I would say set some smaller goals. Make the high school team first. And maybe after that, make the traveling team. Maybe go on and try after that, make the college team that you want to go to. But have realistic expectations too.
Yeah, and like Casey was saying a while ago, there really aren't that many guys who go right on into the NBA. I mean, what is the 32 teams?
30, isn't there?
30, and they usually have, I think, 12 players, something like that. So that gives you some sense of the numbers, right?
And there's the NBA D League.
The D League, yeah.
The thing is that so many people think, well, if I just do this, I will get there.
Yeah. No.
And that's not the case. I mean, there's literally, you've probably never seen the best shooter in the world in the NBA. There is some guy in Iowa or Indiana that was too short or too slow or whatever, didn't have the luck or didn't have the one thing that pushed them to the next level or whatever, didn't have the right coach, didn't have the right opportunity that one time, that didn't make it to the NBA, and he is the greatest shooter of all time, and you would never know.
Yeah.
Or there's the guy that's 6'11", super talented, and he just maybe he was overlooked and didn't take the initiative to really get to the next level, or he plays in a foreign country and never really figured out how to get noticed. Or there's so many scenarios where these people that should be in these places didn't make it. But there's also the fact that a lot of people will have that as a dream and will never make it, and that's just the way it is. And there's tons of guys in the D League right now that are
really good players,
that are NBA caliber players that will never become that will never play on an NBA team, and they could be an NBA player. So you have to know that just because you put in the time doesn't mean that that's going to happen. That's fine to have those goals, but set incremental, smaller goals. All right, let's do a lightning round. We got to start answering a bunch more questions, right? So short answers to these questions.
Yeah, I'm always short.
Yeah, right. Well, Nicholas Rivas is saying again, my problem is deeper. I can't barely talk to my coach because we had a discussion a couple weeks ago. Well, we can't give you the secret to that. You got to go talk to your coach. That's the bottom line. It might be uncomfortable, but you got to figure it out again. Let's see. This one is from Scott Smith, who says, how do I block out opposing fan sections and pre-game distractions? That's a mental thing. You got to center yourself and really just block that stuff out. It doesn't matter in the course of a game. You just gotta block it out.
Yeah, you really do. You really do.
Adam Power says, my form feels inconsistent some days. It's all good on other days it has bad rotation and falls short. Why? Well,
to answer a question like that is really difficult because you've got several things there you want to know about. Sometimes you're consistent, sometimes you're not consistent. We have no idea.
Is your practice consistent? Are you practicing a little bit every day?
Well, and you talk about your bad rotation and falling short. Why? Well, go to our videos and we discuss a number of those things right there in our videos.
Yeah, well, part of it is you've identified some of the problems. So why are those things happening?
Yeah.
And if you are working consistently on your shot, they really shouldn't be, because you should be addressing them every single time.
Absolutely should. And if you have difficulty figuring it out, like I said, go to those videos and we discuss pretty clearly most of the mechanics of shooting and what the problems can be. And what is the other group of videos, Casey, that we have on
I don't know.
The analysis videos?
Fix your shot or something like that? Or
maybe that.
Well, whatever.
It.
Just go check out our shooting videos.
Yeah.
Okay, this one is from Antonis. We'll just stick with that. Do you believe that the skyhook belongs to the past? Young players can use it in our days. Yeah, I mean, we have a video on it.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things that fell out of favor for, more power play and stuff like that. But it is still a very effective shot if you know how to use it and have worked on it.
Right. Well, one of the things that you don't have with the hook, the sky hook, is you don't have that counter move like you have for a jump hook. You can go the up and under on that jump hook, but it just kind of after.
It's another option in the post.
Well, it is, and I get notes all the time from people on that particular video how this is awesome, this is awesome, this is awesome.
Okay.
And it is hard to block.
Arya K says, somehow I lost all my shooting touch. If I get my legs into my shot, it's always too long. If I try to shoot a little bit without power, it's too short. How can I fix this? Stop whatever you're doing. Go work on the form shooting drill. Start out close.
Yeah.
Work on dialing in all of your mechanics and getting everything where it needs to be. Progressively work yourself back and master every range. Then work on game speed, game intensity, shooting, and then get game experience. Those are the three pillars of practice.
That's right.
And you just have to stop trying to force it and get back to paring it down, slowing it way down, right? Let's see. We're going to answer two more, and then we got to get out of here. Okay, that's a super long one. This one is from... let's see. Let's find one that's a good one here. Okay, this one's from Robert Stark, who says, should I practice physical strength for basketball or spend all of my time on skill? Okay, we talk about this all the time, and we say your time as a young person is better spent developing your skills, because you will get so much more out of your skills being developed than working on your physical attributes.
Yep.
Once you get to higher levels of play, like in college and stuff like that, being physically fit and strong, that's all part of the program that they work with you on, and that's fine. But if you spend 2 hours a day going to the gym and working out on lifting weights and doing all that stuff, and you didn't spend that time working on developing your skills, you will find that you will be a very strong individual that will not be playing basketball at the next level.
Yeah, that's true.
Develop your skills. That pays off way more than developing your strength. But that's not to say you can't develop your athleticism, your conditioning, and just kind of functional fitness for basketball. Right. That's different. But you can also incorporate that into your regular routine. And the other thing is that just because you've been working on developing, jacking up your bench and working on your biceps and stuff, doesn't mean that you will become a great player. That just doesn't happen. Okay, last question. This one is from Sammy McHale, and it ties into some of the stuff we talked about last week. But he says, "I'm 6 feet tall, and whenever I drive into the paint, I fear getting blocked and end up missing missing it. Any tips?" Yeah, um, this is one of those things where you have to change your mentality. You might get blocked, and whatever, that's fine. It should not affect you, but you need to go up and focus on the finish. If there's going to be contact, that's fine. If it's not a good shot, don't take it.
Yeah, and don't put up some hucking shot there that is not that doesn't have a prayer to go in usually.
Yeah, and so you need to focus on the finish, get over the fear. Like, the fear is the worst thing you can have, and it'll just psych you out. And, one of the other things you can do is you can set up these conditions in your practice. Have it so that you're coming down the court and you have your buddy or whoever it is come in and challenge your shot on that stuff, so that when you get to a game, it's like you've actually been there before, right? All right, and then Joshua P is asking us, are you guys coaches? What is your experience with basketball? You've been coaching since the early 60s.
1962.
Yeah, and you've coached high school teams. You've coached plenty of traveling teams. You've coached players that have ended up on every single level. I was a former player. I've helped coach with you, and I've coached, helped with traveling team stuff and clinics and all that stuff.
Right.
And so we have kind of a long history. We're a basketball family. All my brothers played basketball and our coaches. We are tied in with the basketball community here in California. But yeah, you have 50 years of experience.
Yeah.
And we still work with players of all levels and stuff.
We do
and
every day.
You're mostly specifically based on shooting these days, but we work in developing ball handling and everything, and we do clinics year round. So that's kind of our basketball background in a nutshell. Let's see. I think that's going to do it for us today, you guys. Thanks so much for all your questions. If we didn't get to your question, it's not because we don't like you. It's because we just ran out of time. If you want to talk to us during the week, you can catch us on all of our social media stuff. We are Shot Science and everything. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We are on Snapchat. We are on Instagram. We are on YouTube. You can subscribe to us and check out all of our other videos and tutorials. Just let us know what you want to talk about, and we'll try to do our best to get back to you. We're doing different things on all those places, so make sure that you are not being left out.
Yeah.
And we will see you guys 1 p.m. Pacific time next time on a Sunday for the live show.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right. See you later.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.